guys, welcome back to my channel. If you didn't know, my name is Eman, or Dancing in Circles, and I make pole, aerial hoop, and Lollipop Lyra tutorials on this channel. So a couple of days ago, I did a little poll on my Instagram. I will link that over here if you'd like to contribute to those polls and to my new content. But I asked you guys if you wanted to see shoulder mount walks down the pole or shoulder dismount out of your Lollipop Lyra, and I literally every single time do a poll and I get a 50-50 response. So don't worry, I'll be doing both of those videos, but I'm going to start off with that shoulder mount walking down the pole. So make sure you have a super solid shoulder mount before attempting this trick. We're going to be re-gripping, so we're basically going to be re-grabbing and walking ourselves down the pole. So make sure that your shoulder mount is solid before attempting this trick. You've got a mat under you or someone to spot you at your hips while you're first learning how to do this. If you find this video useful, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help me out with growing this channel. And without further ado, let's get into the video. Alrighty, so I didn't want to take off my pants for this tutorial, and you don't need to work on your shoulder mount walking as long as you're not planning on climbing up the pole. So I'm going to start off on the floor with just a little exercise. So I want you guys to start off in that shoulder mount from the floor. We're going to start in our hollow body position, and from there we're going to work on our shoulder mount to pencil. So pushing the hips up super high and coming up into a pencil position, and then back down to straddle. This is a nice little drill to do from the floor, and then from there we're going to take it up in the air, and then from there we're going to use that shooting the hips up to give us a moment to re-grab and walk ourselves down the pole. The key to this trick is to shoot the hips up. So the higher you shoot your hips up, the more time you give yourself to re-grab safely. So this is the key to this trick, it's just shooting the hips up. So we're gonna start from the ground. I'm going to get into my shoulder mount position, and from here we're going to go into our hollow body. So I'm going to lift my toes slightly up off the ground. I'm going to push my belly button down into the floor. Make sure that there's no gap between your low back and the floor. From here I'm going to pull my arms in towards each other, and from here we'll come up into our straddle. Now from here what I want you to do is I want you to push your hips up, legs together, back behind the pole into a pencil, and then back to straddle. Go for 15 of these from the floor. Alright, so now we're going to take that exercise that we just did from the floor and we're going to bring it up into the air. So you're going to shoulder mount from a standing, and then from there I'm going to shoot my hips up, push my legs together. The legs should be together behind the pole in a pencil, as opposed to feet touching the pole in like an inverted D position. So I want you to make sure that legs are straight up and parallel to the pole. Make sure that you're not sending your hips too low. So sometimes what happens is if people don't shoot their hips high enough, they end up feet touching the pole. So I don't want that to happen. Make sure your hips are going up high enough so that they are parallel behind the pole. So from here, what I'm going to do is we'll straddle, pencil, straddle, pencil, straddle, pencil. And from there you can see how high my hips are shooting up in this exercise. Same thing, do 15 of these up in the air. So those drills that we just talked about are a little static compared to what we're actually going to do to walk our hands down the pole. So I'm just going to show you from the floor what exactly I want you to do. So that static exercise is supposed to teach you your hip thrust and getting your hip as high as possible. So anytime you do a drop in hoop, typically when we do a drop, we shrug our shoulders up and then release for catches. In pool, typically what we do is we shoot our hips up, and that gives us a little bit of extra time to re-grip safely. So I'm just going to show you from the floor what we're going to do. So it's going to be a really dynamic pop. So you're pop your hips up, shoot them up. So say I was doing this from the ground, it would be up, up. And you can release your hands from the floor, so you can go from your straddle position, up, release your hands. Now, When we do the walks down the pole, we're not going to release both hands. You can do that, but what I want you to do in this exercise is actually just to take your top hand and bump it down underneath your bottom hand. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this fairly low. So I'm going to sit just about a hand width away from the base of my pole. From here, I'm going to start with one leg bent, one leg straight. The straight leg is going to needle up. The bent leg is going to push into the floor, and we're going to shoulder up from the ground. So from here, we're only going to do like 1 or 2 walks. I want you to make sure that you're like close to the floor. That say you were to slip a little, you're not going to drop very far, so you should feel safe. If you feel the need to, you can also put a squishy mat underneath you, and that will maybe make you feel mentally like a little bit safer. So from here, we'll shoulder mount. I'm gonna push the hips up, regrip. Push the hips up, regrip. So try the exercise from the floor, popping your hips up and releasing both your hands. And then from here, we'll sit up a little, shoulder mount. From here, popping the hips up, taking the top hand, regripping underneath the bottom. Top hand, regripping underneath the bottom. Once you feel confident doing this low to the ground, you can, of course, now take this standing up in the air. So you can go into your shoulder mount from here. Now from here, same thing. Pop the hips up. Pop, pop, pop. And that's how you do your shoulder mount walks down your pole.